Hello, everybody. Some time ago, I posted over on Facebook asking for suggestions for ghost videos that people would like me to take a look at. Today, I'm going to talk about one of those suggestions that somebody sent me, and it features a young girl drawing on a table in an enclosed room when all of a sudden, this happens. Paper starts blowing on its own. She runs out of the room, comes back a second later. More stuff happens, and it just keeps getting better from there. Things start flying around, crash into the floor. Now, this video comes from the YouTube channel of one Sam Hain Bakogna. Probably not pronouncing that right. I apologize. It has well over 1 million views. It's been featured on such YouTube channels as Nuke's Top 5s and Top 10s, so it's gotten quite a bit of exposure. I'm not going to play the whole video. I will provide a link in the description if you want to go check it out. Interesting YouTube channel he's got going on over there. He's got several videos. Most of them have to deal with the paranormal and other type of such things. Notice how I said interesting, not real. What I will say about this is, first of all, it's 100% recreatable. But if you look at the video itself, there are some very subtle little clues in there that will let you know right off the bat that it's indeed a fake. I think the first one that I noticed is the sound of the paper rustling. If you take a close look at it, it doesn't quite match up to the action you see on screen. Then as she comes back, paper rustles again. You'll notice it just, the sound just doesn't quite match up to what you see on screen. Now, even better than that, right about here, you'll notice something that's kind of odd. As I flip through this, you'll notice there's some movement right here. If you take a look at the screen, there's some motion happening on the left side of the screen that's not happening on the right. And that's indication that there's some camera motion in there. However, the fact that it's moving on one side of the screen but not the other indicates that there's some masking that's going on there to hide something. And I'm guessing it's to hide somebody standing over here or initially in order to use some kind of device to make the paper move. Anyway, I'll show you how that was done in just a second. But first of all, let me show you just how easy it was to recreate. So here is my recreation done just a few days ago in my own house. There goes the paper. There goes the object moving on its own. And there goes the bench moving on its own. It took me about 15 minutes of filming and about 15 minutes of editing to completely recreate that. So how did I do it? Well, I decided to film this early in the morning before the sun came up so I can very closely control the lighting conditions. That's kind of important when you're using monofilament fishing line in order to make objects appear to move on their own. If you have too much light on them, they might reflect some of that, and that would give that line away. So you can see in this scene, it's somewhat dark. I have one light in the room, closed off to one side, so any shadows would be minimized. I filmed the background for just a few minutes. That's going to be important when the bench moves and I start to mask out myself. Then I brought the bench in and filmed it for a minute or two, and then I brought the paper in, and then I brought the stick in, and then I started to make things happen. Now, in order to make the paper move, I had a small can of compressed air, used a little of that to make the paper move, waited a few seconds, and I went off to the side, pulled on my monofilament fishing line, made the stick fly off. You see, you can't even see the line. It works out very well. And then after I got all done with that, this is very important, I stepped up close to the camera with the stack of paper and jiggled it around a little bit in order to make that sound. I'm going to need that later on when I'm editing this in order to provide the sound of the paper jiggling without the can of compressed air. Then took all that, loaded it in Premiere Pro, and this is where all the magic happens. So one of the first things I have to do is I have to take the video of me manipulating the objects and layer it on top of another piece of video that shows the objects that haven't been moved. That would be the few seconds of footage of the bench before I had placed the paper or the stick on top of it. So I layer the video that shows the objects moving on top of the video that doesn't have anything on it. That's called layering. If you don't know anything about video editors, any video track that's on top of another video track is the one that's going to be seen. And I'm going to use a mask in order to allow a portion of the bottom video to be seen through the top one. So how do you do that? Well, I went and grabbed my pen tool, make sure everything's lined up, and go grab my pen tool and I start drawing a mask. And what the mask will do is it will block out the portion of me in the shot using the can of compressed air and allow me to disappear and make the paper just kind of appear like it's moving on its own. Now the portion where the bench moves on its own is the same exact concept as with the paper, a little bit more complicated because the motion of the bench means that I have to actually make the mask move with the bench a little bit. That's a real simple concept. Same thing as before. I'm going to go up and grab my pen tool and I'm going to mask out the area where you can see my body. I'm going to allow animation, and then as the bench kind of slides down, I'm just going to adjust that mask down to make sure it lines up with the side. It's real simple. Then I have to go back through after I'm done and make sure the lighting matches up between the mask side and the non-mask side. But it's real simple. I mean, this is one of the easier ghost videos to kind of debunk. It doesn't require any green screen, any CGI. It doesn't require After Effects or any 3D modeling. It doesn't require any of that. It's just real simple stuff. Now, to sum all this up, I do not deny the existence of paranormal activity. I myself have had experiences in my life that I cannot explain. My wife has had paranormal experiences in this house that she can explain. It's one thing if you experience this stuff yourself. It's quite another if you're seeing it on video, especially if it's a video on YouTube. And all I want to do is let people know that what you see on YouTube, there's possibly other explanations for it. And in case this video, it's 100% fake. And that's all I got to say about that. Once again, I want to thank those people for sending me the suggestion for this video. If you have any suggestions for videos you'd like me to take a look at, by all means, send them to me. Hit me up in the comments section or hit me up over at Facebook. I'd be glad to take a look at them. So thanks for watching today. Take care.